welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a Sailor pen, and it is the king of pen. It is a really big fountain pen, and I'm borrowing this from Brownie, and I'm really excited to show you guys what I like about this, what I don't like about this, in the style of Stephen Brown. No, not really, but let's switch a shot and go look at it. Alright, I grabbed some Sailors to compare the size of the Sailor King of Pen to. And I don't have like many different types of Sailors. I have a lot of Pro Gear Slims. I think I have 2 regular Pro Gears, and then we have this King of Pen, which is obviously really, really big. And I mean, it's an oversized pen, and it's the King of Pen. Anyway, I'm gonna try and zoom out a little bit and like get it on the screen. But as you can see, the King of Pen is definitely much bigger than the other 2 pens. The difference between the Pro Gear Slim and the Pro Gear is not that big. The Pro Gear is just a little bit thicker, bigger, and slightly taller, but this guy right here is really big. Now, I've definitely fallen in love with Sailor as a brand recently, the last couple of years, actually. And this is not a pen that I've ever considered getting. This is a borrow from Brownie. And there's no real reason why I haven't really thought about getting it. It just hasn't ever been in my, like, mind's eye or whatever. I don't know how to say that. In my focal point. Anyway, it is a lovely pen. It feels really nice. The material feels warm. And whenever I say that, I realize it sounds really vague, but the resin is just really, it feels quality. That's all I can say. It is a black pen with gold trim. Now there are several versions of this. There is also one that's in like ebonite, different materials. There's a green ebonite, I believe. But yeah, this is the basically traditional model. And it's absolutely lovely and ginormous. The cap band actually says Sailor, the King of Pen, 1911. And then it is a cigar shape. We have a gold trim ring here, and the clip is basically the traditional Sailor clip. It's very nice. I like their clip, and this one feels very usable. Like, it's loose enough to be used properly, but not too loose to like be afraid that you'll lose your pen somewhere. When you uncap it, you see a really thick grip section. It is absolutely thick. I'm grabbing the Slim, and here you can see the difference in nib size, the difference in grip size is absolutely massive. Like, the feel is just going to be completely different. When I grab the Pro Gear, there's still a really big difference right there. This nib is ginormous. It's a 21K nib. I believe it comes in medium and broad, and this is a medium nib, and yeah, ginormous. This pen does not feel overly heavy in the hand. It's a resin pen, it's not metal, so that makes sense to me. Also, the filling mechanism isn't very heavy. It is a converter, and as you can see, there is a lot of hardware here, more than in the other Sailor pens, but don't really know why that is. Maybe to make it look a little more premium. Yeah. It is not a piston filler or anything, it's just a cartridge converter. If there was a piston in here, it might be more heavy, but yeah, it's very, very lightweight for a pen this big. This pen can be posted. I did some research on that. I'm not going to actually post it. It's not my pen, and this black resin, I don't want to mess it up because it is a threaded cap, and whenever I have a threaded cap and I post, I'm always afraid of scratches, so we're not doing that today, but it can be done. I don't think you need to. It's a big pen, and like the size on its own would be enough. It's just, if you're afraid to lose this, I guess post it. Anyway, let's just take a look at that gorgeous nib, because I showed you the difference between the 2 nibs, but I didn't really give you a good close-up. It says 1911, there's the Sailor logo, 21K, and there's that nice scroll work. And it's just really pretty. And also you can see my lights in it. Feed. I don't actually know if this is a plastic feed. I would say it's probably a plastic feed. I don't see any reason why it would not be. But yeah, it writes fine. It's not like very different than other Sailor nibs, I would say. I have a few Sailor nibs, and it didn't feel different to me. That might be bad for people who want to invest in this pen, thinking they might get something else, but yeah, this is just a Sailor nib. It feels like a Sailor nib, which means it feels great, but like it doesn't feel like a unique experience to me. Sailor, the King of Pen, this is a medium nib. Medium nib, and the ink is this one actually. It's Alt Goldgrün by Rohr und Klinger. And I used to hate these types of inks, but now I like them. I don't know what's happened to me. It's like this gold greeny, I would say it's more green than gold, but it's very lovely. It shades very well. This nib is decently wet. It's a little pencily, but that is just Sailor, right? If you have any experience with Sailor nibs, then you know they can be a little pencily. It's not like they're scratchy, but there's a specific feel to these nibs, and I really like it, but it is an acquired taste. Like, this is not the butter smooth experience that some pens will give you. Medium nib, if I were to ever buy a pen like this, I would go for the broad. This to me writes more like a fine. Also, that is very, very Sailor-like. Their nibs are always on the fine end. So if you are buying a Sailor, keep that in mind. It's gonna write like a fine, or like an extra fine if you buy a fine. Just think about it as a nib size smaller. If you're used to Western nib sizes, downsize it in your brain. But yeah, it's very lovely. The grip is fairly comfortable. It is very thick. And I wouldn't buy this for myself, but that's mainly because it's very expensive. It's like $800 or $880. And I don't think the nib feel of this pen is unique enough for me to warrant buying a pen at this price point right now. I think the nib might be a little softer than other Sailor nibs, but I'm not gonna push it too much. It's brownies. But yeah, no, for me, at this price point, I probably wouldn't. But then again, if you like really big pens, this is a very classic looking big pen with a really nice big nib. Again, if you look at the difference between these two nibs, it is a really pretty nib. Anyway, that is the Sailor, the King of Pen. It was really fun to experience using this. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.